so many people want to feel good, and they go about it by trying to control conditions. And then they get frustrated and defeated, even to the point of despair, because there are too many conditions to try to control. The entire measure of control that you have is the control of your own vibrational gap. And when you exercise that control and you just practice it a little more every day, then you begin to see all of the cooperative fairies of the universe assisting you in so many ways. It's so easy once you get in sync with that flow to get to where you want to be, because everything that you've been asking for is forward in your flow. Everything. Nothing that you want is ever in the opposite direction. It's always forward in your flow. Always. 100% of the negative emotion that people feel, whether it's fear or hate or anger or frustration, or depression, no matter what the label is, joy, appreciation, 100% of the emotion that a person feels is about their vibrational relationship in that stream. All of it is about that. And when you understand that, and you leave the peanut gallery out of your decisions, and you begin to only consider the way you feel and what you can do right now about changing the way you feel, then you discover that it's not about controlling conditions over which you have no control that makes for a deliberate creator. It's controlling your own vibration over which you have absolute control. So when you are an example of that to others, when you are going with the flow, when you are reaching for better and better feeling thoughts, when something happens and you don't feel good and they see you demonstrate, whether you're doing it deliberately and openly or not, they are aware that you are deliberately suppressing the thought that takes you that way while you are encouraging the thought that takes you that way. As they hear you again and again trying to make the best of something rather than trying to prove you're right, trying to feel better rather than getting somebody else to agree with you, stabilizing your own vibration rather than trying to get anybody else even to understand you, then in time they'll begin asking, you know, your life seems to me like it's pretty good. What is your secret? And as you say, I go with the flow. I understand that I'm worthy, and I try to keep up to speed with that thought. And when something isn't going well for me, I call it temporary, which feels so much better than permanent, which feels so much worse. When I don't have as much money as I want, I appreciate the money I've got. When I'm not as well as I'd like to be, I appreciate how well I am. When I'm interacting with someone I love who's not behaving in a way that makes me feel good, I remember things they said that felt better. In other words, I concentrate, I practice the direction of my thoughts, and I practice thinking and feeling and thinking and feeling and thinking and feeling and thinking and feeling until I can tell which way I'm going. And then I relax as I understand that whatever I want will come about eventually, and that the better I feel, the faster it will come about. And so there's just no excuse whatsoever, as far as I can see, say to them, to point in the wrong direction, then complain about how far I am from what I'm wanting. Really, it would be the same as getting out there in the desert, Jerry and Esther on their way to San Diego, and deliberately turning around and heading for Phoenix just to make a point. Complaining all the time that they're getting further and further and further from San Diego. And anyone logically would say turn around, but you know, it's easy in that trek across the desert to quantify the journey and tell which way San Diego is. But so many people can't tell which way wellness is, because they've listened to that one and listened to that one and listened to that one, and they think it's a function of diet, or they think it's a function of medicine, or they think it's a function of surgery, or they think it's a function of heredity. And what we want to say, it is 100% a function of your vibrational relationship with what you have become. A woman said to us one day, Abraham, it is so unfair. I have this illness and this illness and this illness. And she said, and I'm a pretty positive person. And my friend over there is so negative, and she's not sick at all. She's well. That's not fair. How can I be more positive than her and I can be more sick than her? And we said, because there is more to it than that. Your life has caused you to launch rocket after rocket after rocket. Your stream is moving very fast. And the faster your stream is, the more aware you have to be. As Jerry and Esther and their dear friends were in this raft floating down this wonderful river, there were places in the river where it was moving more slowly. and there were not so many rapids. The stream was wider, and so the flow was slower. And during those times, they were talking and laughing and getting the other boats wet with their paddles. In other words, they were doing all kinds of messing around things that didn't have anything to do with paying attention with what needed to be done. But as the river moved faster, it was imperative that all of them gave their undivided attention to what they were about. And in that stronger focus, they were able to navigate in the way that they are wanting, you see. And so the same thing is true of you. When your life has caused you to get your stream going, you better watch where you're going, which means you better pay attention to the way you feel. You better guide yourself in the current by reaching for the best feeling thought. Not the best feeling thought you've ever thought, the best feeling thought you can find right now from where you are. I like being in my human body. I like knowing that I'm an extension of source energy. I love knowing about the intelligence of my cells. I love my cells. I so love my cells. I adore the cells that make up me and that make me up. I love the cells. I love my cells. I love their responsiveness. I love their flexibility. I love their intelligence. I love their relationship with source energy. I love what they know. I love what they know that I know that they know, and I love what they know that I don't yet know that they know, but I really love my cells. Can you feel the calibration taking place?
Yes, I can.
I love knowing the well-being of my body. I love acknowledging. Now, you don't want to get into it in any way that causes any challenging, but I love being me. I love what is. I love what's next. I love my life experience. I love the wholeness of all of this. I love being physical. You can be as general or as specific as you're able to be and maintain your feeling of calibration, but you can just feel your well-being come. So let's accomplish that calibration. I like being in my body, and I like my responsive body, and I like knowing that my new asking is accomplishing a different vibrational frequency than anything that I've ever done before. And I love the newness of my expanding being. I love the extending of me into my experience. And I love knowing that things are always working out for me. I love knowing that my inner being knows things that I can't even articulate, but I love that feeling of well-being, of knowing that my inner being knows. That's calibration. Do you feel it taking place? And then under those conditions, that's who you take into that environment. And then that environment is affected by what you know. And the parts about your calibration that help you stick, and the parts that could potentially be there that are not part of your calibration bounce off of you. So you are actually soliciting from the environment in which you are going the components that match the calibration that you accomplished. This is deliberate creation at its very best, you see.